And welcome back to We Watched the Movie. Today,
we're gonna paint. Okay, so Insidious, the spoiler review. Insidious. When that part popped up on screen, that was scary to me. Like, the very beginning of the movie, it takes place in like 1983 or whatever. They're showing, what's his name?
I desperately want to make love to a schoolboy.
What? Patrick.
That was from Dumb and Dumber. I don't really.
Patrick Wilson's character, they show him at the very beginning of the movie as a little boy, and I think it's like the 80s, mid-80s, early 80s, something like that.
Yes.
And then as soon as all that shit happens, they're trying to, lay out what happened. That old lady from the first one stalking him. That Insidious thing pops up, and that fucking music. That for me,
music's badass.
It was fucking scarier this time, more like this time. And I was like, "Where's the chapter?"
I don't know. The opening to this was so disappointing for me, man. Because the first one, you had that creepy bitch in the ghost house, and it was like, and they saw the with this one, but the opening sucked. I didn't like the opening at all.
I just thought about
the first one was so original. This one was like, look at this house, and then they brought the and this is of course, as you know, the spoiler review, so don't watch it if you haven't seen it. But they brought back, what was her name? The medium.
Elise,
yeah, they brought her back as a younger person because they go back in time to show Dalton, or not Dalton, but Patrick Wilson's character when he was younger. They go back in time to show him when he was younger, and they bring her back, and she's younger, and she's talking to him on the camera, and they show the first time that this happened to him, where they, took away his powers or whatever and made him forget that.
Well, let's just cut right into the fucking facts.
So, but no, I was saying that was stupid. Like they put her voice over this young girl, and you could clearly tell.
Like I was watching Ice Age.
It was really cheesy.
So why are you doing that?
It's got off to a cheesy start, but
I didn't know why they just didn't let obviously maybe she sounds like a man. Maybe she sounds like the person from Joyride. It's like, okay, decade. Like maybe they're like we gotta overdub that. I don't know why that was stupid, but I'm just gonna cut right to it. So the old lady that you saw from Insidious 1 is actually a man in the movie and was raised by that crazy bitch that you see in the previews for Insidious 2, the one that looks like a nurse and shit. That's its mother. And this ghost has been controlling her the entire time to take over Patrick Wilson's character Josh in the movie. And she actually did. At the end of Insidious 1, she actually took over Josh. And then, so like, I don't know, 50 minutes of the movie is him being possessed by this demon, being weird, and you could see the effects on his face. Like,
it's kind of cool how they did that too, because like his tooth was falling out, and you could hear him in the bathroom. When he was in the bathroom, he was
talking to something.
Her dirty soul's withering the fresh body away, or whatever it was that they said. And like his body, he was becoming older looking, and the effects were really good. Like he started looking like shit. But yeah, it's that bitch hated her son and wanted him to be a girl because of his dad left or whatever it was. And she kept telling him his name's Matilda or whatever the fuck it was. I forgot her name. Matilda. He's like, write it! Or say it! Your name's Matilda!
Your name's not Patrick!
It may have been Melanie, or I don't remember exactly the name. But so she's making this little boy dress up like a girl. That's fucked up enough. So of course he grows up to be a serial killer. And that's the fucking old bitch that you see. He dresses up like his mom, like Norman Bates style, and kills a bunch of people. And then that's the ghost that's been in the whole fucking series.
But you actually get to see who he was before he died, because they go to the hospital and this old crumpled up man is in the hospital bed, and he tries to grab at Josh or whoever, the little Dalton.
Yeah.
That's him. And so that's pretty cool that they showed that. But I mean, I don't know, like when we're talking about mushy kind of plot, it really is. It goes
a lot.
You got like Josh the demon, Patrick Wilson, he's the demon, and then you got Josh in the further that's out of his body, and he's trying to contact his wife, so he plays the piano, and she was always hearing this piano music.
I called that, by the way.
Yeah.
As soon as she was like, "You're playing our song," I was like, "That's him trying to get out of the further."
Yeah, he's trying to get out, and eventually they reunite his body with the spirit, and they come back, and then Elise is there. Like I said, she died. She is dead. But she's like this spirit guide in the further that's like leading them along and stuff like that. But the one thing that got to me, like, it just seemed like they were just pulling shit out of everywhere, just putting it together to make this plot happen, and I didn't get it. Like the scary bitch mom that was of this man ghost, or this it ghost. I don't know what you call it, she-man. The she-man,
freaky bitch.
She was like a good character. I guess she was a good ghost, but I don't really didn't need like a freaking whole movie around her, because she was pulling the strings, and I didn't get that because. I don't know. They set it up in the first one like it was a demon.
Yeah.
It's a demon. It's not a ghost. It's a demon, but now it's a ghost.
I don't know.
And then what happened to fucking Darth Maul? Where's Darth Maul? Because if you remember at the end of Insidious 1, he's crawling on the wall before Dalton jumps back in his body, and you never see what happens to him.
He's just another demon that went by the wayside, I think.
Yeah, but he was an important part.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, that's true. I would like to see Darth Maul. but then again, I mean, that's a good point that you make there, because in this movie, like, you had the Darth Maul scare, you had certain scares in the movie that were just, like, they stung in your memory. You're like, I remember that. Like, it's very clear the scares in Insidious. This one has really great scares. They got the tension. James Wan does an excellent job building tension. He does an excellent job with the camera. The beginning starts off slow, but once it picks up, there are some genuinely scary parts in this that are fun. And the problem, I think, is in the story, and it's not like gaping holes. Like, the story's not terrible.
No,
it seems it's just a little too much. Or like, I pull from here and pull from here and pull from here, like you said. And then you've got Josh who goes back in time. Like, when they go into the further, there's this weird time difference. Like, he can go anywhere in time, and they don't really explain that very well, so you're not exactly sure what's going on. But he goes back to himself when he was a kid, and they explain that he was the one that was asking him, "Hey, where does this bitch live, so I can go stop this from happening?"
Well, I actually didn't mind that part. The time warp that they did.
It's a cool idea, but they kind of explained it in a weird way.
Well, they didn't do enough. Like, I don't know. I don't want to try to hurt this movie's feelings, but I'm just saying it kind of felt like sometimes it just felt rushed. Like, I want to get you to the next area really quick, so let's just focus on this really fast, and then we'll go right here.
It was almost too much good shit in the movie.
But when they did the time warp, like, there's a scene when they're videotaping Josh when he was a young boy, and they're asking him, you know, what's going on, who's trying to hurt you, and stuff like that, and he stands up and he's like, "I'll show you," and he walks over like sleepwalking. But then they see that somebody else was in the room, and it was older Josh. Yeah. That was cool, but like you said, it just felt like it was kind of like rushed really quick, and then we'll throw it in there, and then it's just so much shit happening.
Yeah, the way they told it was kind of muddled, so you couldn't really experience. I bet a second viewing this movie is way better because you know what to expect. But you're trying to grasp onto so many storylines here that sometimes it kind of gets a little bit convoluted. But it's still a very interesting storyline, even though you know there's like a man gaping plot holes in that story. I mean, there has to be, but at the same time, the scares are there. The movie's a fun-ass ride. Yeah. It's a good time. And it may not have like...
I felt like I was in the movie Speed.
Yeah.
Don't let it drop to 55.
It may not have the deeply ingrained scares as the first one, but it's got some really fun scares in it. It's a fun-ass movie to watch. I don't think they capitalize on a couple scenes. At the hospital, there's this found footage element where they're in the hospital. And that hospital is scary as fuck. And I feel like they could have done a lot more with it. And then the room at the bottom.
That's what I'm talking about.
That I thought something fucking scarring was going to come out of that. And nothing really did.
Well, I think what happened, there's a scene, like the old man at the hospital, like we already said, that's the ghost woman thing from the first one. It's an old man in a hospital room that his mother
and it's all his victims with sheets on their heads.
But he was apparently a serial killer in life, and they go to his house, they break into his house, the Specs and the other ghost hunter guy and Josh's mother break into this house, and they go in there and they're investigating, and they uncover this secret room, and they see all these fucking bodies on like pews and shit. It was like Buffalo Bob from like Silence of the Lambs, and they're all like on the pews, and they've got like these sheets over there, and then they go up to the altar, and they see all this, you know, these news clippings about this man that dressed up in these black veil that killed all these people.
That was so freaky because when the camera's going along, you're like, oh fuck, there's a bunch of dead bodies with sheets on their heads, and they're like, oh fuck, they're sitting in pews,
but then nothing happened,
sitting up, and you're like, this is fucking atrocious. And like I said, you thought it was going to be scarring, and nothing happened.
Well, I mean, I guess they were just banging.
When you die, nothing happens.
You come back as a fucking ficus. What I'm guessing is they kind of thought maybe the imagery was going to sell it for enough, but I was like, is this a KKK meeting or what?
Yeah.
I was like, you fucking racist bitches. No, but I mean, but nothing happened like we said. And then when Josh is in the further, his spirit form is in the further, and he's trying to get back to his body and drive out this demon bitch. I don't even know what happened. I mean, he's going through, and then all these bodies are like standing up, and he's pulling the sheets, and you know something's gonna happen. He pulls down the last sheet, and it's the bitch, you know, the crazy girl from the preview, the trailers, and she's choking him or whatever. And I don't even know what happened. Like somehow he casts like bitch beway, and like all of a sudden she's gone, and then the demon old woman thing is gone, and he's back in his body. I just don't get No, I mean, but she's like she's like falling, you know.
Yeah, no, the Elise, remember, Elise came over with the chair and like beat her.
But the whole thing with Elise, I didn't get. She was like, you still have time, leave, run. No, Elise, no, I know, Elise beat the shit out of that woman.
Yeah.
But when Josh was running back to his body, the spirit that was already inhabiting his body.
It's like, oh, you got beat by a fucking
But it's
chair.
like, but they don't explain how he got rid of it.
Yeah.
He just jumped back in his body, and then she went away, and he's like, I'm not afraid of you anymore.
Yeah, no, they actually did explain, because they had to have the little boy get rid of his memories of the mom, and that's
so they had to hypnotize him.
Yeah. So
okay, well that's flimsy as shit. Okay, so it was flimsy how he got rid of the demons.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when Elise was sitting in that room in the further, and she's already dead, and she's like talking about, you guys have still a chance, and she's like, everybody, and you know, they asked her, like, what are you doing here in the further, and she's like, everybody passes through here every once in a while, and I've already been to the other side. I already know the
there was
glorious
moments
paradise.
like that where their parts in the script were just to explain what was happening. It was like, well, I went to heaven. I could have gone to heaven, but then I saw that you guys needed help, so I came back. But it was like she had to say that, and it just felt forced.
Well, then let's fast forward really quick. Why is she still with them at the end of the movie? At the end of the movie, the two ghost hunters that are left, Specs and the guy, they already wrap up the story of Josh and his family, so they're safe. Everything's okay now. They banished the demon, except for the Darth Maul. I guess he went back to Star Wars. But they're at another house, and
he heard about Disney acquiring the rights. He had to go.
He was
scheduling issues.
He's pissed about the Jedi's. But they, the two ghost hunters go to a house, and the little girl answers the door, and their parents are there because apparently they're having disturbances. And then the little girl's like, "Who's the woman behind you?" And it turns out to be Elise, and she walks in the room, and there's this ghost woman that's sitting in this rocking chair, and she's like, "Hello," and then she's looking at her, and then she stands up, and then she's like, "Oh my god." Looking off in the distance, and it ends.
That ending was terrible. Like, first off, the whole Josh getting back into his body thing was done because it was just like, oh, Elise hit the demon with the chair. That demon, that big scary demon that had all this shit going on, that she beat the fuck out of it with a chair, and now the movie's ended, and everybody's happy. I kept expecting something else to happen, like something, oh fuck, there's another bad guy, or there's something that just happened, but nothing did. Everybody was happy, and to spend 2 movies with these characters and to have them just be like, oh, we're all happy, hug, and then you're done with them. You just watch something like that with Patrick Wilson and all of them, and then all of a sudden you go into that ending, and it's just such a Hollywoodized ending. Like, it's just so cheap. They don't even show what she's looking at. She's just, you can tell that they were like, okay, if you're gonna make this movie, you got to throw in something else. And James Wan's not coming back to direct another movie.
They did. Well, they did exactly what they did in Insidious.
So the third Insidious is gonna suck ass.
Well, I don't know. I'm not gonna say I don't know. I mean, they could do something great with it, but I don't think they should do it. But I mean, whatever. I mean, maybe it's a trilogy they're gonna tie up. But I'm just saying. At the end of Insidious 1, when she turns around, she's like, and then it ends, when she looks at her husband's face. It kind of ends like that in the same way. I think
it's a completely new family.
But I don't like
nothing about.
James Wan's a great director. He did amazing with The Conjuring, and Saw 1 was great, and Insidious 1 was great. But I'm just saying, I didn't like that fill in your own story kind of thing he was going for. Because I did when Elise beat the shit out of that ghost woman in The Further. Maybe I was thinking to myself, maybe she's destroying her because it's another spirit destroying her in The Further, and that's the only way to get rid of her.
Maybe.
I don't know, but that's me giving that's me adding the extra detail that I shouldn't have to do that. You should tell me what happened.
Yeah.
You're the director.
But I'll tell you what, the scary fucking parts in this movie.
They were great.
She gets the baby monitor part where she goes upstairs, and the fucking baby's gone, and it's got her baby, and then she's walking down there, and the baby shit goes flying, and then she gets smacked in the face. That scared the shit out of me.
That was my scariest part in the entire movie. She's walking, the girl, Rose, I don't remember her name, but anyway, the wife of Patrick Wilson in the movie, she's walking around, all these, kid toys are lighting up, they're moving around, this happens for a while, and then finally she walks downstairs and she's walking towards the living room, and you see in the corner that freaking scary bitch, they're just sitting there looking, I'm like, oh my god, and then she walks away, and then she's like looking around because she hears shit, and then out of the corner of her eye she sees this thing like glide.
Yeah.
And then she hears the baby monitor because she like chases after this. She's like, "Hello," and then you hear the baby monitor. You hear this mean bitch talking to this baby, and she runs up the stairs and nothing's there, and she runs back downstairs, and all of a sudden it's fucking in your face. Yeah. And at that moment, I was like listening to that song. It came in my head. I was like, "There's always rainbows after rain." The sun will. I mean, it fucking scared the shit out of me.
Another jump scare that got me was when they're in the hospital and the kid's looking at that guy's hospital shit, and he's like, "Why not?" That fucking. It wasn't a scary scene, but it was the best jump scare of the movie for me because I was like, "Oh fuck!"
That was just good camera angle.
Yeah, and that's what James Wan does best. But at the same time, also the scariest part for me was when Dalton's in The Further or whatever. All those people or he's in his bed, and that bitch comes out of the fucking closet, and she's like, "Help me, help me!" And then all those fucking people. He turns around, and in a split second, his room's full of those fucking ghouls, man. And he gets under his cover, and they're all over top of his covers. That's like every kid's worst fucking nightmare.
Oh my god,
man.
yeah.
That scene scared the shit out of me.
I didn't like the reaction of Renee. I don't know. I can't remember the girl's name. Renee, Patrick Wilson's wife in the movie. I think it was her name, Renee or Rose. When she comes in and she was like, "It's only a dream," and she holds up the sheets and they're ripped. And I was like, "Well, bitch, it's not a dream."
Yeah.
I mean, if I was Dawn, I was like, "What you talking about, woman?" I was like, "Look at my sheets." Freddie was here. That part was scary.
That part scared the shit out of me, though.
But so there are good scenes. There's good imagery.
Super
there's
good
creepy
scenes.
imagery, and it's also got a lot of tension to it. It's got stuff that you're gonna be interested in what happens next. But it's
kind of the opposite of Insidious in a way because it's a really good horror movie, but the story's not all that great.
Plot's watered down.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could say. And also, there's one ghost in this that's fucking pointless. I don't know why they put it in there. I guess just for a throwback to the first one. The cloak, the guy in the leather jacket is back, and he's stupid in it. Yeah. He walks by the house, and he goes... And he smiles.
It was kind of a throwback to the first film that it didn't need. Because when you saw him, you're like, cool, they're going to do something else with this. And he goes running towards the house, but then it just ends up being the exact same scene. It was just in a different time.
The only thing I can think of is that maybe that the ghost mother, the demon woman, was her protector. So apparently there's a hierarchy in The Further that the strongest ones have like ghosts that work for them. I don't know. Yeah. But like I said, I'm filling in details and I shouldn't have to do that.
He was like Chrissy from The Sopranos.
He was. Well, and then Dalton's whole story was kind of like, I don't know. It was kind of tacked on for me, Dalton. Because he didn't even really need to be on it because the whole movie focuses on Josh and that whole thing.
Yeah. And Josh, when you get into the domestic thriller part where Josh is like, his physical manifestation as the demon is going after people. That was pretty freaky.
I loved all the
It's
scenes.
great acting. Everybody's great actors.
The house scenes were badass.
Yeah.
I loved it when, because the wife knows something's wrong. She's like, it didn't end, when we left the house, we moved in with his mother. He's like, it did. And he's like, yes, it did. And then you see Dalton, like, at one point is like behind the wall listening, and you could hear Patrick Wilson talking to somebody that's not there, and he's talking to that crazy woman saying, you need to stop being here. Like, you need to stop.
Great acting job from Patrick Wilson in that movie. So, yeah, and like I said, the movie's a fun ride. The plot's kind of watered down. It's got kind of some bullshit in it. The ending really, just kind of bummed me out. It wasn't that great at all. But the rest of the movie's, it's great. So I'm gonna give it a 7.5. I thought also the two paranormal investigators were really funny again. They were funnier in this one than they were in the first one.
Yeah, it's a solid 8.0. I mean, it's nothing new. I mean, they don't do anything ingenious in this. Like, the first one was, like, amazing. Like, it had been a long time since anybody had seen a great story put together, and they had all this crazy shit going on, and you didn't know what was going to happen. This one, I'm not saying it tells you what's going to happen, or it doesn't like give you clues, but you kind of expect something's going to happen because the music keys up, and you're like, okay, here we go. Yeah. But the imagery's still awesome. The creepiness feel is still there. It's fun.
Scares. There is scares.
Yeah, there's still scares or jump scares. It's fun. So a solid 8.0. I mean, you're gonna have a good time going to see it.
Yeah, and what it is, I mean, basically, I'm not knocking this movie at all. It's a good sequel to a great movie, and it's definitely worth your ticket money. I'd say.
I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even. Insidious 1 was so well done.
Yeah.
I don't even know how you could do a sequel to it and do it just as well. I mean, Exorcist 1 was an amazing movie. Exorcist 2 fucking sucked. I mean, you can't do anything. But he did a great job.
They did better than most sequels do, that's for sure. So, that's it, guys. What did you think of Insidious 2? What's your grade for it? We asked in the other video, what's your favorite horror sequel of all time? So if you haven't answered that you want to put down here, you can. And what do you think about Insidious 3 happening? Without James Wan, because he says he's not
I think I don't want it to. Well, the only thing I'm scared of is I don't want it to turn into another Saw thing where they're doing like Insidious every year. No, I know, but I don't want it to turn into a franchise like that. I wouldn't mind seeing Insidious 3 with a competent director and then tying it all together with a trilogy, and then that'd be it.
Yeah.
One more, and then that's it. Yeah. But I'm afraid that they're going to say, let's make more money and make it a Saw series.
Yeah, that's all it's for, is making more money anymore. That's all it's for.
I want to see Conjuring too, though.
Greed is good.
Because the Conjuring, they're going to make the Conjuring.
Yeah, it's already happening. So, I'm Mike Keisha, and we'll see you guys next time on...
I like to sleep with pillows.
We watched a movie. Yeah. We watched a movie.